Hello, everyone. All right, hey everybody. I am live now, back on StreamYard, back on my home internet, which has some new configuration. Hopefully, it works well, and I hope my audio doesn't cut like the last stream for anyone who was listening. We have 4 people listening. Excellent. A lot of y'all have seen these before. Y'all are used to the rules, you're used to everything. I do have slow mode enabled. That is so that I don't get drowned in messages and questions. I will basically be answering your questions. It is after 11 o'clock at night, so it is a late evening for me as well. 11:06, but let's have some fun, guys. After all, that's what I'm here for. Here to answer your questions and to have a good time. All right. Let's see. Jack Pickles, you have to donate to speak. Hello. Hey, Philip. Perfect timing. 11 o'clock at night. That's perfect timing for you. Okay. Welcome. Hey, Philip, did you see the interview I did with Sensei? I did that last Monday. Oh, yeah. I was trying to remember what I did last Monday. That is what I did last Monday. Not, yeah, 2 Mondays, like 2 days ago, but Monday the 9th, I did a live stream interview. Hello. Somebody with their name not read. No, April, rather. April. Hi, Jack. Dev. How often do I do these live streams? Usually once a week, but the last couple weeks have been chaotic, so it kind of varies. So I did one on the Monday Monday the 9th, and then this is the first one I've done since then. Usually I would do them on Saturdays, Saturday nights, or Saturday afternoons. However, I've been kind of all over the place. Like last Saturday, I was in DC, and the Saturday before that, I was flying to DC, and I've been rather busy. So that's why I did the other live stream on Monday the 9th, and then I didn't do one after that because I was busy all week. And then this week has been a little chaotic, but less busy. So I was able to squeak going in tonight. And then tomorrow I've got stuff going on. Friday I've got a little bit going on, but not much. Saturday I've got stuff going on. Sunday going down to my family member's place. And then Monday going on a cruise, and I'll be out of the country. But I'll try to live stream once from the cruise. But I do these frequently enough. I'm glad you were able to hear the interview, Philip. Duff Flopper, I'm sorry you cannot hear me. I do hope you're able to get that fixed. Get your $400 AirPods. Duff Flopper asks, when did I start remembering? Hey, I'm going to start doing the show comments now. When did I start remembering at least one dream per night? Here's the thing. Always and forever, just about to eternity. I was always remembering a dream either once every night or every 2 days for my entire life. I've just had that recall. But when I started lucid dreaming, really quickly after that, I started getting multiple a night. Something I hadn't had before until about a year and a half ago. And now I can remember multiple a night. For example, last night, let's see, 2, 3, 4. I think there's 4. I think I was able to recall 4 from last night. There's some fun ones. Dev, mild really helped with my dream recall, but you haven't lucid dreamed, but it's been 2 weeks. Well, it's only been 2 weeks. That's the thing. 2 weeks isn't exactly a lot of time. We do recommend practicing for a minimum for at least a month. Now look at the bright side here, though. It's helped with your dream recall. Dream recall is extremely important. If you're not remembering dreams, getting lucid is harder. So the fact that your recall is improving, that is something to look at and praise and be happy about. You want to encourage positive behaviors. So improvement of recall is a good thing. That's something you'd want to encourage. Now, when you say that mild help, I assume you're doing mind or something related to it as well. But yeah, mild is awesome, and just understand that it can take time. That 2 weeks isn't exactly a lot of time. I mean, I've been practicing now for, let's see, It's 581. I think I'm on 581. Computer, what is 581 divided by 7?
581 divided by 7 is 83.
Yep, I'm on day 581. So yeah, it's been a while. What do you think is the best way to wake up or wake back to bed without alarm? Intention. That's like the main way, actually, Frankie. And as for me, that's actually something I've never had to worry about because I've been waking up many times a night naturally just as a light sleeper for years and years. So instead of letting that annoy me like it used to, I decided to turn it into a weapon instead and use it, which has been really helpful. Jack Pickles, did I ever give up lucid dreaming when I first started? Never. Never have, never will. I haven't skipped a day of practice in 581 days. I started on Thursday, October 15th, 2020, and I'm going to remember that day for as long as I can, hopefully as long as I live, and hopefully that's a really long time. The only times I haven't practiced are nights where I stayed up all night because, well, I didn't sleep. Even then, I still thought about lucid dreaming a lot, and I do every day. I've never given up. I enjoy it. It's a passion. Doing it's a passion of mine. Teaching it's a passion of mine, and I'm not giving up. Not anytime soon, anyway. Definitely not. This can't be one of the only ones. You're talking about lucid dreaming communities. Reddit. I mean, there's YouTube. There's Reddit. I will say though, a lot of that tends to happen on social media, Philip, as well. Like that's kind of a social media thing. You get a large group of people together. It facilitates mass communications. So if there's something that's just not known about a subject, it's a lot easier something like that to happen on social media. I doubt you're seeing many, correspondent, letter groups just corresponding with each other or email groups that are doing this kind of thing. And the thing is, though, also Facebook groups, from what I hear, tend to be more mature. In fact, the scientists, the people who research lucid dreaming, they don't spend time on some of the social networks like YouTube and stuff. They're on Facebook, from what I've been able to hear, and from what I hear as well. So groups and stuff on there are more mature. So I will be learning some of this. Part of when I go to the conference, Philip, in July, is communicating with other people who are lucid dreamers, most of them older than me. Because all of my experience here, except with a few select people, are people who are younger than me. So trying to get an idea of how communities form amongst older demographics, people who have more experience, get an idea for what they're doing. That's my own personal research. I would call it market research per se, but I am kind of looking into other communities and how that happens. I want to broaden my understanding of lucid dreaming communities and get an idea of what is out there. Am I Omni? No, I wish. Santana Canfield, that is not a lucid dreaming question. It's not something I'd ask here. But anyway, I'm really looking forward to going to this conference. For anyone who's not aware, I'm going to the International Dream Conference, the 39th Annual International Dream Conference, hosted by the International Association for the Study of Dreams, IASD, at the Los Ventana Canyon Resort, Tucson, Arizona, July 16th to the 22nd. That includes travel days. I fly out on the 16th, I fly back on the 22nd. Registrations on the 17th and through the 18th to the 21st as well. So a lot going on. A lot of cool stuff going on. Do I have any PRs? One main one. It's called Zordonia. Unfortunately, I don't get to visit it that often because I either don't remember or the times I do remember when I'm dreaming and I try, that I sometimes get there and sometimes don't, but I don't always remember. But it's called Zordonia. Its primary component is the Starship ZSS Star Horizons, the Titan-class supercarrier. It cruised about 2.5 million, 50 miles long, 5 miles wide, 500 decks. And its task force, which consists of 24 Peacekeeper-class cruisers, 100 Guardian-class escort frigates, and 11,760 Protector-class starfighters, all of which dock to their constituent parent vessels, either the cruisers or the frigates or the carrier, and then all the cruisers and the frigates can dock inside the carrier. That's why it's a supercarrier. So, all intents and purposes, the fleet comes out to about 3 to 3.5 million total when you include everyone on all the other ships. Frankie, you cut out. Do you think in the future there could be a technique for what? If you could maybe finish that one, please. I'm not sure what you exactly meant there. If I meet LaBurge, tell him I want him to be LaBurge. You are my father. Philip, you know how like Darth Vader Star Wars that sounded like? Well, that's just my interpretation. You're hilarious. How much time did it take me to get my first lucid dream, the flopper? It took me 14 days and 13 nights. I got my first lucid dream actually while I was still in the middle of trying to transition out of the misinfo crap. And that was on Wednesday, October 20th, 2020, approximately, I want to say, somewhere between 5 and 6 in the morning, United States Eastern Daylight Time. Do I think there will be a technique that makes lucid dreaming doable in one night with 100% chance of success? Just curious. I would say that's a technique. I'd say that's technology. And I do think technology will eventually get to that point where it can read the brain well enough to introduce an appropriate cue that you can respond to easily. That'll encourage certain activity to happen that will cause you to get lucid. I think that's technology, not a technique. And I do think over time such technology will be developed. I just don't think it's here yet. Anything I regret doing in a lucid dream? No, not really. I really only regret not doing things, actually. Like not visiting my PR when I've had chances and just forgotten, or just a couple other things. But I haven't really regretted anything that I've done in a lucid dream. No. Can you feel pain in a dream? Yes. Do I personally feel pain in a dream? No. Do I choose to? Nope. So I actually never do, because that's a kind of a personal decision. I associate dreams with being very positive. That's why I hardly ever have nightmares. I really, I think I've maybe had like the number of nightmares I can count are in single digits. I don't really remember many, and the closest I get to that is like a suspense thriller type thing, which always has some sort of resolution at the end of it. So no, I don't really have nightmares. I have a very positive relationship with my dreams, and so I don't have any experiences like that. I also choose not to when I'm lucid, obviously. But yeah, I meeting LaBerge is going to be really cool. Also, Robert Wagner is there as well, so I have a chance to meet him. And there's Dr. Kristen Lamarca, who I've followed some of her site stuff that she's posted. She's gotten pretty good, and she's worked with Lucidity Institute. I really want to learn more about the Lucidity Institute and what they have been doing for the past several years, because their website, for anyone who's heard me talk about the Lucidity Institute, I've checked on their website, and there are parts of their website that haven't been updated for years, like 4 or 5 years. 2018, I know there were certain parts with SSL certificates that were expired. There were links that didn't work. There were things that made me think, is this still a thing? Where do they operate now? What are they doing? Because I can't find anything recent on their site. So I'm very interested in learning about the Lucidity Institute, because Dr. Kristen Lamarca actually indicated in I listened to one of her things that she did, and she said that Lucidity Institute was still active. And I was thinking, well, if that's the case, I'd like to learn more. It's not really something you can learn more about in the chat thread, but at this conference, I'll have a chance to hopefully ask a few people about Lucidity Institute and what they're doing and how to get involved or to just keep up with them, because I like people who research this stuff. I think it's really cool, and I want to learn more. I'd love to get involved at some point if possible. Can melatonin medications increase your chance of lucid dreaming? Honestly, I don't think so. Honestly, I'm not really sure. I'm not a scientist. Like, I don't know how all that goes. I do know there can be some, if you're not someone who needs melatonin or something like it to sleep, then I don't think taking it's a good idea. I'm someone who actually kind of needs it to sleep because I have other medications and other things that I take, and I got other genetic stuff that goes on. But if you're not someone who actually needs it to sleep, then taking it's generally not a great idea. But that's just what I've come to learn. You turn on pain fully for just Philip, I'm not gonna read that comment. Honestly, that's not something I want displayed on my channel. Please don't say something like that again, okay? That wasn't cool. Is there a way to Dev 11:17 p.m. Is there a way to go back to a dream like every night? Yes and no. You can create a PR. You can create like a persistent realm that characters and locations stay the same consistently throughout different dreams. Going back to the same dream every night, I'd say no. Going back to the same dream, like just repeating it, I'd say you can do that. And it's more likely that you'll repeat a dream in the same night. So what can happen is you'll have a dream and then you'll basically repeat the dream with minor differences. So you'll have the dream and you'll have the dream again, but with some fluctuations. And so you'll have the dream, but you'll have the dream again and things will just be a little off. You see what I did there? That's actually what it's like to repeat a dream. And I've actually used a text version of that as an example of what it's like to repeat a dream. But yeah, it can happen. Like you can go through some of the similar scenes and details, but things are likely to be different and not exactly the same, at least in some way or some manner. There's likely to be some differences, some divergence, some changes. That's just normal. That's been my experience as well. Did I try time dilation? Short answer, no. Longer answer, I've not really considered it. I don't even know where I stand on it personally. I kind of stand on the fence of, the false memory type deal or stuff like that. And also, my dreams haven't been like really, really long anyway, so I don't really get into a contemplative level for the most part of things like that. Jack Pickles, 11:18 p.m. I will show this comment. What is your main reason for wanting to learn lucid dreaming? Be honest now. Well, I had no idea what it was before October of 2020. I had a couple before then, actually. I think there was one in like 2014 maybe, and then one maybe in 2018. But I have had an experience where I've realized I was dreaming or at least able to control the environment. I remember one, I summoned a subway train out of nowhere, and I still didn't know the New York subway as well as I do now. So I basically wrong-railed an F train into 34th Street, Herald Square, and then controlled it with my mind. And then in 2018, I did the most noob thing you could possibly ever do, and realized I was in a dream and decided to wake myself up. And there was a computer in front of me. Whoops! Computer stop. That's the wake word for my Alexa device. Anyway, there was a computer in front of me, and I used the Windows R key combination to pull up the run dialog and ran the wakeup.exe program, and it woke me up. So I have done stuff like that just a couple times. But October 2020, I learned what lucid dreaming was, so at least the YouTube version of, half truths of what lucid dreaming is. And I thought, you know what? I'm really good at imagining things. I enjoy my imagination and immersing myself into things that I create or to ideas or to things and trying to follow them to their logical conclusion. And I think the whole concept of being able to manipulate physics and reality is cool as hell. And I thought, you know what? This is something I think I could really enjoy doing. And this was in a time in my life where things had gone straight to hell. COVID-19 was just one in a whole series of not so great years in my life, 2020. Before that, I'd been dealing with anxiety, like a lot of it, and stress, and just being down for the last couple of years. Not really, I was trying to do stuff with college, but not really going really well. I was just not really caring about much. And then 2020 came along, and all of my favorite things to do involved traveling or being around people. And that all went straight out the window because of COVID. And so I had the worst year of my life, basically, in 2020. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. This is something that I think brings some real joy to my life and be just a fun experiment and experience. It's an experiment. I saw it as a challenge, as an experiment, as something I could learn to do. And I still can see it that way. And I started and I never looked back. And I've been enjoying doing it and teaching it ever since. Really, really do. 30 minutes can I whisper in your ear you're dreaming? Oh, you're so funny. What's that consistent dream thing? Are you talking about persistent realms, Dev? I'm trying to figure out what you're talking about. Jeromny Edwards, 11:21 p.m. Can I explain what a PR is? A PR is a persistent realm, or a dream world that has persistent and consistent characters and locations, stories, themes, rules that you can return to repeatedly in multiple different dreams. That's what a PR is. Something you can sort of visit, you can create it, you can like design it. I've designed mine basically while awake, and I visited a few times. But I've sort of created how I've created a bunch of lore for it from the ground up for mine that I've designed. And yeah, that's what a PR is. A PR is it's a persistent realm. It's a dream world that you can return to. You have characters that are persistent. You have locations that are persistent. You have themes and plots that are persistent. You have things that change over time but follow the same rules. And you can just go back there usually when you want to, or you can choose to go there if you remember to, and take up from where you left off, or having had some time pass, or however you want to go about it. Did I try Lucid Dream Masks and do I think they work? No, and not worth the money. Also, I'm blind, so visual cues, really? You really think I'm gonna try something with visual cues? Let's just say no, I'm not gonna do that. Do I have some notable characters in Dream World that are special in some way? I created one called Caroline way back in the day, as sort of a character that was supposed to be able to help me stay lucid or stay grounded in the dream. That was back in 2020, and then I was able to actually communicate for the first time, I think in Lucid number 16. I tried, and then I was able to start controlling my iPhone, and I had conversations in Lucid Dreams 22 through 24. Those are series of False Awakening class wilds where I just didn't give up, and back when wilding was a lot easier for me. And then I so strongly associated her to my PR that now she only appears on the ZSSR Horizons in compartment 100 S10375022, or the out of character room called the Lucidity Command Center that I created. She shows up in there. And I think one of my best interaction with her was Lucid Dream number 152, where I was able to, I've dealt with, I've been dealing with anxiety stuff for a long time, but back then it was like in its worst phase. But, I would start losing sensation, and I was able to like hold her hand to stay, to keep sensation, and then teleport. We teleported together actually, and that was part of LD 152. Probably the best experience I had. Then there's this other character who I created who turned into a cat and a turbolift and attacked me, but that was kind of funny. That was, I think that was Lucid number 248, but I'd have to get back and double check. But it was kind of funny that he turned into a cat and attacked me in the elevator. The turbolift, basically. It's been a straight year. You made that bet, still talking about him all that time. Hey Philip, so remember we made that bet. Are you gonna pay me that couple $100? Like, I mean, we did make that bet. Are you gonna pay me? No. Like, yeah. I told you could stop talking about him. Yes, I did. I was talking about PRs, Dev. I just explained it. I just explained them up earlier. If you have any more questions about PRs, I'll do my best to answer them. How would you even maintain said rules in a PR? It sounds like a physically established realm. Would you realm change every time you wake up? You would do that the same way you would do anything else in a dream, based on your expectations, your strong associations, and your emotions. So you create a specific set of rules for that world. You associate those rules with that world. You associate the actions of that world with the rules of that world. You associate characters to that world. You give them names. You create locations that also have names, relationships to one another. You create a lore basically for this world. It has its own rules. It has its own behavior, and those things are associated to that world. And it's associated in a way where you expect it to act that way when you're there. You could technically, in theory, break the rules if you really wanted to, but a lot of the fun from a lot of people I know is creating the rules and then living within those rules while they're in the PR and experiencing things with those rules and having to work within the rules to actually change or do things that they want to do. And there's a lot of fun to be had doing that. Cover ad revenue. I have to get to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours before I can even start getting ad revenue. I wish. How can you make a realm? Well, for me, it was like imagination of certain things, and I created all the statistics myself. I pulled them out of the same place you pull anything else. If you don't know what that is, then you don't get the joke. But anyway, I basically created all these stats out of nothing. I decided to give my ship classes the Titan class supercarrier. There's also an Olympian class supercarrier, but that's not part of the main task force. That is part of the Zordunian Defense Force. There's the planet Zordunia, and there's a lore behind some of the first ships that were constructed, like the Solar Wind, which is my personal transport ship, and this underground laboratory that was made off of a wing of a building. Some of this came from this like one dream that I had when I was reading stuff about the New Jedi Order series in Star Wars, and there's stuff with the Yuuzhan Vong Shapers and some of their stuff. And I had this dream about like these guardians or these things that put people on a planet and had them try to experiment with creating living technology. So I basically just took that dream from several years ago, and then I evolved it and expanded it just in my own thought canon, and I created my own world out of that. I created Zordinia, I created the Zordinia Defense Force out of all that. Just created ideas of a world. I mean, honestly, I could be a writer if I just actually bother to write. I mean, I'm pretty good at keeping things in my head straight, and so I've sort of created this whole line, like this whole. Not really, I haven't really created much in the way of a storyline. I've just created world elements and concepts and ideas. In fact, I created one of the concepts is all the ships operate off of the manipulation of the quantums of space time on the subquantum level. So basically wormholes for transporting any matter and energy across the ship. So there's no power conduits. There's no, any plumbing or anything of that nature. Ships operate off of telepathic interfacing. So every crew member on every ship can interface at once into a ship and then all link. And so the entire coordination of 3.5 million people can just all operate as a single entity with perfect coordination. And I got that idea from the Yamasks and the world brains of the Yuuzhan Vong, which are able to coordinate their fleet movements perfectly in just eerie coordination. Also from Jedi Battle Meditation from the New Jedi Order series as well. So I kind of got the ideas from that, but I created a telepathic interface and a technological way of doing it. But all the technology is organic based, but it's designed instead of like the Yuuzhan Vong where it's obviously organic and it's like really kind of weird. It's made to mimic traditional technology. It's just alive in its own way. And I came up with this whole backstory for all this stuff. It was kind of fun. Yes, schemas work. Schemas make it. Of course, schemas would work in it. Schemas make it. You choose when your life starts. You start whenever you want to, or you give your character whatever background you want. For example, in Zordinia, my character is the Regent Governor of Zordinia. It is the top political appointee. Got that position. Basically, Zordinia itself is a research colony. It is not an actual settled world. It is a research world for developing organic-based technology. And then my character created the first spaceship and actually achieved space flight on that planet far ahead of schedule with just organic-based technology, developed his own labs, developed his own manipulation, learned how to manipulate subspace and subquantum levels with that level of technology. Of course, Zordinia is part of the Intergalactic Federation of Peacekeepers, and the Regent Governor of Zordinia holds the Zordinian seat on the Federation Council, so that's my character as well. There's a lieutenant governor or an assistant who maintains the actual planet-based operations while I'm away, because I spend most of my time away in that universe. The Intergalactic Federation of Peacekeepers, the ability to create like all the ships and the fleets that I did, and the orbital facility, all that kind of stuff that we created, and then exploring and integrating thousands of different species, concepts, and technologies into our designs, gave Zordinia a heavy degree of influence in the Federation, Intergalactic Federation of Peacekeepers, the IFP. So my character spends a lot of time traveling to other galaxies, trying to prevent or to put an end to transgalactic and intergalactic conflicts, the kinds that would affect billions or trillions of beings and cause devastations to worlds that cannot defend themselves. So that's sort of what the goal of the IFP is. That's the other key organization there. But yeah, I mean, I created all that. I just created that idea. It's kind of like living two lives, but like, it can be like that, but it doesn't always like have to be like that, but it can be. Why am I not an author? I just haven't taken the time to write. I'm much better at thinking than I am at writing. And I have caught up. Computer time. Computer time.
It's 11:35 p.m.
11:35. Okay, perfect. Let's see. You're trying to be like Spider-Man. Well, in that case, you'd want a PR of New York City. And since Marvel has officially established a multiverse, pick whichever universe you want to. I guess you could watch Into the Spider-Verse, pick one of those universes, or make your own universe for Spider-Man, and then insert yourself into New York City in that particular universe, and maybe go to war with like the evil monsters that are trying to kill Doctor Strange, and have a little fun. Let's see how many people are watching. 30 minutes, 48 seconds. Only 3 people watching. Lovely. Hey, folks, go tell all your friends that I'm live streaming. Go tell everyone on the Lucid and Dream Cafe Discord servers that I'm up here streaming. Let's see how many people we can get over here. Will Nova Dreamers still be out of stock? My PR doesn't have eBay. In fact, some of the ways I get to my PR is basically through interdimensional teleportation. Like I'll be in some other form of dream, and I'll just teleport myself in there, and I can sort of incorporate the entire universe, the entire multiverse into my PR, just because I have designed it in a way where if I'm in some other dream, I can in an in-character method access it from anywhere. Is sort of the plan. Part of that is I haven't created this device yet, but I'm trying to spawn in dreams this teleportation device that I can use to instantly teleport to anywhere I want to, and it would be code locked to my clearance codes for Star Horizons, and it would also have a telepathic interface to be able to access teleportation locations. So I'd be able to just phase myself onto that ship at will. That's sort of a goal of mine to get that created. But no, I don't have eBay in my PR. I'm not. It's not based on planet Earth, Phil. How would I be able to enter it? I just described it. I've teleported myself using Star Trek teleportation methods. I have imagined like a Star Trek transporter protocol, setting a transporter source and destination, and locking myself into a pattern buffer and beaming myself over to it. I've managed to get that to work a few times. Let's see, what else have I done? I've attempted to have myself teleported by contacting the ship. I've done that via my cell phone. I've done that via my Alexa device. Open a comm channel. I've been able to get that to work a few times. I've actually been able to get a comm channel open more times than I've actually been able to teleport aboard. There are some times where I just was conveniently enough already in space and was already there, and that really helped. That happened a couple times. But yeah, I've been able to access it a few times. Not as many times as I'd like, but a few times. Maybe around 10, maybe 15. I'd have to double check. Good night, Jack Pickles. Thank you for watching. And I wish you the best with lucid dreaming. Of course, if you have any questions, you know where to go. But yeah, I'd like to get some more folks on here, because we just lost one. And I got DMs galore. Well, I got DMs. Hold on. Whoops. I did get DMs, actually. All right. One of the people I communicate with is DMs asking where it was, what server, and I have a mention on Dream Cafe. I'm just gonna go check that real quick. We could possibly have another person joining us. Someone on Dream Cafe thought my live stream was staff applications. That's all I can say for that is someone didn't pay attention. Oop, I hit the wrong button there. Let's try this again. There we go. I'm checking this other DM real quick. This guy said his place was a game. Oh man. Let me just check if I'm dreaming real quick, because it's gotten a little crazy on here, honestly, with the DMs and stuff that I was getting. So That's pretty funny. Oh, dang it, Philip. Well, I guess have a good night. Well, let's see. I guess that leaves one person still here. Ooh. One person. Okay, Dev. Well, I guess it's just us. How sad. And I guess that means I'm going to go ahead and end at 40 minutes. I've enjoyed talking to you guys. Thank you so much for watching and for participating. We had a good PR discussion today. And please tune in more. And I will be streaming again sometime next week, hopefully when more people can join. Probably with, bad cruise Wi-Fi, but I'll still have some Wi-Fi on the ship. People have been able to live stream from the cruise ships before. I'd have to see how that goes over the Wi-Fi. And that will be an experiment in interestingness where I choose to live stream from. My computer battery is also doing nicely. It's still at 60%, and I've been live streaming for 35 minutes. I actually just got my computer battery replaced a few hours ago, and that's really helpful. I actually have very high hopes for that now, and looking forward to taking this on my upcoming trips as well as the Tucson trip. I feel like there will be some good things coming. Thanks for watching. Have a good night, everyone, wherever and whoever you may be.